Welcome to the Hooch, where the only place more messed up than your hosts is the barracks on a Friday night or the VA. So get ready to stand by for your weekly dose of toilet humor and shenanigans from your fellow veterans, Coy Mack and Michael Grizzled Grunt Harris.
And welcome back to the Hooch, everybody. You got Coy Mack here and the one, the only Michael Harris.
What is going down?
It's going down. It's going down a lot.
Oh, yeah, it is. The world is burning. I fell into the burning ring of fire.
Man, dude, like, I hate the flow of time. Everything's getting older. Like, you remember back in the day when you were like a kid and you looked at like the old 50s and 60s vehicles and you're like, man, those were classics. Do you realize the same age of those cars now are what we were driving in the early 2000s are the same age?
Yes.
And that weirds me out to think about, just like the change of technology and time.
And it happened really fast too.
It did. It really did. I
remember when the internet first came out.
God,
I remember Yahoo Messenger, age, sex, location. You know what I mean? And here we are. We can access it anywhere. You know what I mean? Just like
dude. It's nuts to think about that Y2K was a thing. Like, that was a thing in 1999. Everybody's afraid that the computers were going to go down and Y2K was going to be the biggest thing in the world. So
I remember.
It was going to cause all the banks to collapse instead of it was just the economy and interest rates from Joe Biden.
I remember, bro. I remember. I remember Y2K because I was stationed in Germany
at the time.
We actually went to Luxembourg for, that New Year's Eve, and we expecting everything to shut down. Nothing happened. Nothing happened.
Dude, I mean, I was still a kid when Y2K happened, so it was just kind of funny to see the change between now and then. And like, if I would have told my younger self that we were going to live through the plague and a pandemic and then 2 recessions and then all the other stuff, like, we thought Y2K was going to be the end of the world. And it's like, yeah, no, that had nothing on 9/11, recession, plague, recession, and all the other stuff that it came with. Oh, and the fall of Afghanistan after we went to war for 20 years. Like, if you would have told yourself and like Y2K wasn't going to be a thing, but here's all the other crazy shit that's going to happen, nobody would have believed you back in the day. Not a single person. They think you're a crazy kook. You're a crazy person. Yeah. None of that stuff's happening.
No, it's not. But
I wish that was crazy.
It's real. Whatever's happening now, the shit's real.
It's
really happening.
Right. This timeline absolutely sucks. And one of the best examples of why it sucks is Kamala Harris.
Oh, yeah.
Who was booed at the NCAA tournament. And she gave this really awkward speech, which I will now play for the rest of you so you can be awkward as well. Here we go.
You played hard. You played to the very last second. You made all us Bisons so
proud. So proud.
You showed the world who Bison are. You know, I was at Howard back in the day where we were just happy that there was a game. Much less getting to this place. Right? And I see Bison literally all over the world. And we've been talking about...
He sees Bison all over the world.
You make us so proud. So I know you
Check the stream.
Feeling great right now, okay? I know who you are.
Oh, man.
You are
excellent. You are excellent. You play hard. You played hard. My God. Could you imagine getting in a pep talk from Kamala Harris? Like, I bet that's how she sounds like when she's giving like a pep talk to somebody right before she like blows them. It's like you're really hard. You really played hard. Oh man, because at this point, I mean, it's kind of an open secret that she played hard to get where she was.
nobody likes her. Nobody
No,
liked
not
her
a
before
single.
she became vice president. Nobody likes her
Oh,
now. You know, a
no-
lot of these leftists out here that claim that they love Kamala Harris, they're only saying that because they want to be part of the team. But deep down inside, they can't stand her.
nobody likes Kamala Harris.
No.
Like the only reason she's there is because they needed representation. She was the token quota of wokeness, right? That's kind of the thing. It's like this has been the big issue with this last week. There was a chick that was on a show, and then she couldn't describe wokeness right away. What is wokeness? She got that heavy-handed question of what is wokeness. I can give you my definition of what wokeness is. Michael, what is your definition? I want to hear your version of what wokeness is first.
That's a good question. Wow. To me, wokeness is just another Marxist tactic to virtue signal and to shame other people for not believing in what you believe in. So a lot of it's just virtue signaling. Because a lot of them don't even believe in what they, what they talk about. They're just happy to be a part of something bigger than themselves. They want to be a part of a group. They want to be a part of a community. You know, they feel deep down inside if they're a part of it, even though they don't understand it and believe in it themselves, they're going to help make change. And they can say, even though they don't know, they can say, well, I was a part of it and I helped. So to me, it's just virtue signaling and, people using things to make other people feel bad about the cause that they stand for if you don't believe in it.
Yeah, for me, wokeness is, as I tend to call it, is the church of intersectional oppression, because wokeness, for most people, you know it when you see it, right? We all know what wokeness is, but we have to give it is the idea of intersectionality and the plays of Marxism and its critical race theory. It's all these amalgamated ideas shoved into one little box that is wokeness, right? So it's all these different ideas in praxis, whether it be critical race theory or trying to fix their views of what oppression is, right? All this historical oppression, we have to destroy the system, we have to change the system so that we can have equity. Not equality, equity, right? It is
equal.
It's not equal. It's not equality. It's equity of outcome is what they're preaching right now.
Yeah, equity of outcome is just pretty much putting everybody in the same playing field.
Yeah. No. See, that's what they want you to think, right? So equality is everybody being equal. Equity of outcome is something completely different. It is when everybody has the same outcome. So basically making everybody poor means that everybody's equitable, right? So if we're all poor together, then we're all equal, right? We have equity in outcome because we're all poor, and that means that we're good. We fixed the system, right? We fixed it, so we made everybody poor. That's how communism has always worked.
It's either everyone gets a trophy or no one gets a trophy, regardless of what you did.
Equity of outcome, right? So if everybody gets a trophy, then nothing ever matters because them thinking that competition is evil, right? The idea that you cannot have competition because it would make people feel bad, and that's oppression, right? That's oppressive systems. You
notice how they're pushing that down on us common folk, but how come they don't push equity in professional sports?
That's so true. I mean? Yeah.
Hey, if you want equity, push it in professional, push it in everything, so that you're practicing what you preach.
Sports are one of those things that you can never have equity in. You can have equality. Everybody can start at the same starting field, like the same starting line, but you can never have equal or equitable outcomes, right? So that's just life. That's how competition in life works. There's never going to be, nothing is ever going to be fair. This is the thing that the left doesn't understand. Nothing is life is ever going to be fair, right? No. All of these things that have happened to you and things that have happened historically has happened to every single civilization in the world, right? Slavery was not something that was only to Africans or to African Americans in general. Slavery was an institution that has been around long since civilization has started. It wasn't something that was brand new that only happened in this specific period of time, it happened everywhere. Racism is not something that is only in one civilization. It exists in every civilization, in every corner of the world, no matter what population you're in, especially in China. The Han Chinese do not like other Asians. They don't like other Africans. They don't like anybody that is not Han Chinese, because that is called majority privilege, right? Same thing in Europe. Majority privilege of white people. The Norse people that you so lovingly say, look at how socialism can work, are some of the most racist people you will ever meet in your life, because they say that they are for equity and equality, but really what they want to do is say, I'm a good person, and then they'll put you in a ghetto and never let you integrate ever. And that's what happens. And that's why they have all those problems, is because they won't let people integrate into their culture. America's good at doing integration, sometimes forced integration, and we have some messed up things in our past, but we still at least try, right? We try. We do.
Yeah, there's always going to be winners and losers. Always. Since the dawn of time, there were winners and losers. America wouldn't be America if we didn't win.
Yep.
You know, and not everything's equal. You think us going to combat with Iraq and Afghanistan, it was an equal fight? No, it wasn't an equal fight. We were better equipped. We had better equipment. We had stronger firepower. So there was no equality there. And the same thing goes in daily life. You know, every day you go to work, there's always that one freaking employee that stands out. That's the hardest worker, the one that does the most. You know, the one that doesn't complain. That person's going to stand out over the lazy one. But then they created unions, which pretty much ex facto is a form of socialism and equity.
Yeah. I mean, unions are one of those things that started out with good intentions, but like everything with good intentions, they get taken over by people who are corrupt. And that's the thing, is like all of these make-believe systems, especially socialism, communism, when you centralize that much power into into one party, right, or into one group or organization, there will always be corruption. Regardless of what you try to do, there's going to be corruption in those states. So look at China as the best example. When you consolidate power into one party, it does not matter what your good intentions are. It doesn't matter if you have socialist utopia ideas. There are going to be people that are going to take advantage of the system for themselves. Ideologues, like the Church of Intersectional Oppression, believe in their dogma so much that they will send the brown shirts after you, Antifa, in this regard, to make you adhere to the dogma. You know, the Inquisition. I like the idea of calling Antifa the Inquisition, because like if you don't adhere to the woke rage, if you don't adhere to what they want you to believe, then they will come after you and your family, like we saw with the Muslim chick that went against Jeffrey Marsh, right? They will go after your family. They will threaten you, and they will do bodily harm. They'll burn your house down. We've seen it. We always see it with them, right? And so they're always saying that the right is the most dangerous thing to American democracy. But when in reality, it's like you want to centralize power into the government, which you believe is systemically racist and irrevocably dangerous, but you want to give them more power over your daily life, which makes no sense to me whatsoever. Zero sense.
That's why I said they don't even understand what they believe in. They really don't. They don't. And it's these people that are in charge right now, they don't give a damn about this woke movement. You know what I mean? They don't care. They're at the end of the day, it's about dollars to them. They just have a bunch of foot soldiers out there screaming and yelling.
Right. So a good example I'm bringing up right now is Jen Psaki, who got her own show on MSNBC. Congratulations, Jen Psaki. You deserve that as being a corporate shill, as we all knew you were. But her first show was about blasting Republicans' woke messaging, and how that it's bad. We're bad people for going against wokeness. It's like, because wokeness is a disease. The Church of Intersexual Oppression is a disease on the rest of society. It is a cancer that is going to destroy us.
Yes, it will.
And it upsets me that nobody sees that wokeness is a cancer, right? And that these people are unhinged individuals. Like, go ahead.
And to me, wokeness is no different than Nazism.
Yep.
You know, the government preaches it, and then you get all these woke people out there throwing their fist up in the air. And if you don't agree with it, they turn on you. They will turn you in. They will, like you said, burn your house down, ruin your life, ruin your career, threaten your family. It's no different than the Nazis. The
Yeah.
Nazis did the same thing to the people that didn't agree with Nazism.
Yeah, same thing during every communist revolution.
Yeah,
Is if you were against if you were against the revolutionaries, then you were against the Communist Party, and then you were an enemy, and they were coming after you. And everybody knows what happens when the revolutionaries win. They come after the educated people next. So like all these people that think that they are on the side of wokeness, if they actually win their revolution, you're next, man. Like, you think we're the ones that are like trying to just protect us? We're trying to protect you too, and you don't even realize it, right?
Yeah. We really don't have a problem with you guys that do and believe in, as long as it doesn't affect our daily lives. You can believe that cow farts cure cancer.
Yeah.
That's your belief, you know, but we're not trying to push anything on you. We're giving our point of view on how we see the world, but you guys cannot stand that.
They can't leave well enough alone. They will not leave you alone or your family alone, just like what happened recently. Netflix is I hope Netflix is actually starting to wake up. So they canceled that Bison show with the non-binary Bison. Like, it's a preschool show. This show was meant for kids. Why does all of these things are very tied to in a very sexual nature. Why do kids need to learn about these different things at this age? Why preschool? Why kindergarten age? Do they really need to have that education? That's been the thing I've wondered.
My belief is that they're really trying to normalize P3DO.
P3DO.
So or maybe not. Well, that's what we say on other platforms. But pedophilia. Mm-hmm. So if they can teach these kids at a very young age about sexuality and educate them, right, of how it feels good and where you and all this sick shit, it'll normalize grown men or grown women mess around diddling kids. It'll be normal to the kids. Yeah. The kids will understand what's going on now. It's frowned upon because these kids are innocent. They have no idea what's happening. But if they educate the kids on sexuality, show them that sexuality is okay, it's a good thing. When it happens to them, the kids are going to be like, well, it's normal. I was taught this. So
which is so sick. It's so messed up because when you really think about it, right, it's like I get sex education, right? Trying to keep people from getting people pregnant when they're not supposed to. Granted, that's what sex education was back in the day. You remember those gross ass videos that they made us watch? You know, the birthing videos?
Herpes.
Yeah.
I remember the birthing one. I was like, oh my God.
You're right. Like that's sex education. What is being taught in schools right now isn't sex education. It's called kink education. That's what they're really teaching your kids in public schools. Is they're teaching your kids about kink and sex, and not actually about sex education, about protecting themselves and keeping them from getting diseases or getting somebody pregnant. Those are things that were taught. Now they're just teaching about what gets people off, which is gross. Like, it's not your place as an educator. Your goal as an educator is to teach them STEM or the arts, right? Or how to read, right? These things are things that you need.
And most parents can teach sex education. Most parents, especially if a mother had a child or a father, and we can teach how it works. We can teach them about venereal diseases. We can teach them about teen pregnancy and how you shouldn't, if you are going to be doing it, wait till you're a certain age, or, make sure you wear a condom, and don't wear a condom just because of pregnancy, because there's other things you can get. You can get the gift that keeps on giving.
Gonorrhea or herpes. You remember that conglomeration of things? Or how many dudes you knew in the service that like went out and did something they weren't supposed to and came in with a drippy drip? Yeah.
They were pissing break free, COP.
Yeah, or they're peeing blood or some other awful god nonsense, man. Like,
you should work on them, bro.
you have to be careful. That's the world, man. There are... But I mean, on the bright side, most men aren't having sex these days, so they're not catching anything.
That is true. I mean, men in general are avoiding women, man, because it's just getting too, and not all women, not all men, but it's too much at times, And
it is.
Men are fed up, man. Men are just like, you know what? I have more fun being single, and I can focus on me. I don't have some controlling person, or vice versa. Even women, I don't have some controlling person trying to come into my life, telling me what to do, how to do, where to go, who to go, how to dress. No, screw
Yeah.
that.
I know for you, it gets to that point where you just have enough. Like I've already said with my wife and me, if God forbid something ever happens to her, I probably will not. I mean, I might date, but I'm never getting married again. That's for sure. There's no reason for men today to get married. There's nothing good in it. Like you got to think of it's a losing bet. Like you have better odds at a casino than you do marrying, right? You have better odds flipping a coin than you do getting married.
Like for someone like me that's already established, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I own my house. I have a guaranteed income. You know, I'm comfortable. I have to look at the benefit of being married again. So what would be the benefit for me?
Nothing.
You know?
Nothing other than like risk. Yeah. But even then you can have companionship without getting married. Like that's been the thing for me. It's like you don't necessarily need to get married. You can have companionship without marriage. The only thing for men, if you get married, is liability, right? You know, you lose all your stuff, you lose all your kids, you lose your retirement.
That's what I'm fixed.
Yeah. So like it's just one of those things. It's like don't do it. The world is scary as the night is cold. The night is cold. It's going out there.
I think one of the main issues with relationships these days, and I think we talked about this before, is for one is social media and technology. That's really screwed up, you know, relationships.
Yep.
You know, and it's gotten away from traditional roles also. You know, I'm not expecting some woman to sit at home barefoot and pregnant, cleaning and cooking all day. But a man and a woman do have roles in the household, you know?
Yeah.
And when those roles start overlapping, that's where you see a lot of, you know, button heads.
Or just a lack of communication in general.
Yeah, lack of communication, overlapping roles, lack of communication.
Lack of respect.
You know, it's not there's some dominant figure in the house, but the way I was raised is like the man is the man of the house. At the end of the day, he's the protector. He provides when he needs to, unless you're both working. You know, he's the protector. He's the guard dog. Yeah. And the minute when you start getting some beta male simp in the house, what does she even have you for, bro? You know,
you still have to have the masculine and feminine energies. Like good example for this is like my wife and I kind of live the non-traditional roles, and with my disability allows me to stay home and take care of the kids. She works at home too. So we have both of our roles that we do. We still take care of the kids together. I still am the one doing all of the manly stuff. If there's an IKEA thing that has to get put together, guess who's putting it together? This guy, right? Yeah. Like I'm doing all of those traditional roles, but we have communication with each other and we understand where our roles are in the house, right? So we know what roles we're supposed to do together. And I think a lot of it comes down to, like I've said before, it's all about respect, man. If a woman doesn't respect her man, it's not going to go anywhere. It's not going to last very long. Yeah. At all, period.
And that's very true. Yeah. And, you know, especially if you're one of those ladies that like to emasculate their man, you know.
Yeah. No, that's not fun.
That is the worst. I've seen it, man. I'm just like, man, I don't know how you take that, because I would drop you faster than shit.
But it goes back to that woke ideology, that whole what is it? What wave of feminism were we on now? Is fourth wave, right?
Like the fourth wave, yeah. Yeah.
So like what feminism used to be about was equality, not equity, right? We're going back to the word equity. It was about equality, right? Men and women being equal and stuff like that. But even then, that was just a ploy by certain individuals in the United States in order to get double the tax income of the United States, right? So women's suffrage was all about raising the taxes and getting people out of the home. So they had an entire population of humans they couldn't tax. So they created women's lib in order to get people to pay their fair share. I wonder where that comes from. Pay their fair share. They need to pay their fair share. If we can't tax half the population, what are we doing?
Yep.
Right?
And that was one of the reasons that they freed the slaves too. You know, yes, they freed them maybe for other reasons, but it was all money.
Yeah,
tax revenue.
It's all been about money, right?
It's all been about money.
So slavery in itself was an economic system, right? Like Yeah, we can talk about it being racism, but it wasn't. They only used racism to justify it later on. Slavery has always been an economic activity, right? So everybody made money off of slavery at the time, and it wasn't just Europeans that were doing it. It was the Africans, right? Here's some uncomfortable truth for most of you people. The Africans were selling Africans to people. They were selling it to the Portuguese. The Portuguese actually couldn't, like Europeans that went to Africa couldn't survive off the boats because they would get sick and die. So there actually more Europeans died on the boats picking up slaves than they did transporting them from the coast of Africa to America or to the Caribbeans, right? So like slaves were valuable, right? I could lose a shipmate. I cannot lose my cargo. Right? Which is what they considered people, which is fucked up, right? Slavery is a bad thing, but they considered them valuable more so than the people that were transporting them. It's the same thing. So here's uncomfortable truths. Another uncomfortable truth that people don't understand is that the Indians were also involved in the slave trade, right? And they refused to give up their Indians. The Indians refused to give up their slaves well after the Civil War.
Yep.
By the way, they did not want to give them up either. So it wasn't just white people. So like this is going to go on to the next topic that I want to talk about, which is the San Francisco reparations board, right?
Reparations.
So we're leading to this topic. So they want to do $5 million payouts for people, like not only just black folks, but people that identify as black, which is a very problematic term in itself, right? Rachel Dolezal, anybody? I am 1% black. Does that mean I get $5 million if I move to San Francisco and do that? Because like I'm more than likely descendant of a slave myself, right?
Yep.
So do I
trace
get
your roots back?
Do I get reparations? What? Okay, here's another. Yeah, exactly. It's untenable. Here, like I said, another uncomfortable truth for people. Reparations is deserved. Sure, I'll have that argument with you. I believe that some people are owed an apology for what happened for slavery. Sure, reparations, any person in the right mind that has a heart would say reparations are deserved. Sure, but it's entirely impossible to actually realize it, right? It's not realistically possible to do that. So here's another uncomfortable truth. Since Native Americans were involved in the slave trade, do they have to pay reparations too? Because like you think of how much money they make off of casinos because of what happened to them from the U.S. government, right? Do they need to pay their fair share for what happened during slavery?
And what if you could trace your roots? Say me, my roots go all the way back to a black slave owner. Do I have to pay reparations or do I get reparations?
Right.
I mean,
What if
it's going to be so? It's going to be so hard to track. And how much? I mean, where are they going to get the money from? Look at it. Look at our economy right now.
It's gonna come from the taxpayers, regardless of what you do. It's gonna come from the taxpayers.
Get the hell out of California right now.
It's true though.
Up out of there.
But it's just one of those things. Like I get the argument for reparations. That's why I've changed my opinion on it. It's like do descendants of slave deserve reparations? Sure. Do they deserve an apology from the United States? Yes, absolutely. Like I said, it's just not possible to actually do it. And then we also have to go down that line of thought. If America is responsible for reparations for slavery, then we have to go down the chain of who should be responsible for that payment, right? Does it have to be the Portuguese? Right? Does it have to be African tribes that still exist today in Africa that need to be responsible? Does it need to be the Native Americans as well, who were part of the slave trade as well? Like, where do you draw the line of where reparations should come from? Who is the one ultimately responsible for reparations?
They can't figure it out. They just, these fools just say white people. There's a lot of white people that weren't even here during slavery. Their ancestors were nowhere to be found here. And, one thing that, how many generations back are they going to go? 10 generations, you still get reparations? No, I don't think it should be that far. If you're like a third, fourth generation, maybe. But if you're like 10th generation, you haven't been affected by anything slavery. Yeah. You got to talk about those generations whose grandmother and great grandmother were part of Jim Crow and they grew up during that time.
Like I said, for me personally, like the Tulsa massacre, for one, is one of those ones that definitely deserve to be made whole, right? Because that's happened something that was recent, right? That was the 1920s. And that's something that happened within a generation. We can actually go, hey, these people are responsible for it, right? The U.S. government failed to protect their own citizens. Wholeheartedly agree that they deserve some sort of compensatory damages for what happened, right? We can agree on things like that. Same thing with the internment of Japanese citizens during World War II, right? The U.S. government did that to its own people, and they deserve to be made whole. So it's the same thing. It's like, I get that argument. Like I said, it's not possible to actually make it work, because you have to go into some racist policies in order to make it work, right? That whole equity inequality thing.
The only way it can really work, how, a lot of black, I hate using the word minorities. I try not to use that word.
Yeah.
But a lot of black people in a country are always talking about generational wealth, right?
Yeah.
So the government will say, okay, we're going to start from 1920 Tulsa. We're going to go 3 generations past that. That's probably around my mother's generation, right?
Mm-hmm.
So my mother's generation, boomers, that's where we're going to stop. Now, they say they give all the boomers that are still around, like my mother, they give them that money. Now, what that family can do, generational wealth, they can pass it down to generations. So if they want to take some of that money and pass it to their kids, like my mom said, okay, I'm going to give my kids each blah, blah, $1 million. And then what I do with that, my sisters, and when we all take that money and I pass it down to my kid and we put it in a trust and it just builds interest. And then my kid passes it down. That's generational wealth. But to say every black person gets that amount of money, no, it's never going to work. So you start at a generation, boomers, that would have affected them, everything before that.
Yeah.
My generation, Generation X, I didn't know that crap was, man, I didn't feel none of that. I grew up in a normal, whatever. So you start with the boomers who grew up in the 40s and 50s and all that. You give it to them. They pass it down. Trust, generational wealth. And it builds as the generations go on.
Or we could do what we did with the Indians and just let them open casinos. The legal casinos, there you go. You will create generational wealth that way. We'll just make tribes of black people and they'll just, make their own casinos.
There's a lot of black people out there that and a lot of people, and I'm just going to say black people, there's a lot of people in this world that don't care about generational wealth. They want the right now. They're going to go out and buy a fancy house, 10 freaking fancy cars, a bike, and all this stuff, and blow all that freaking money. They're not going to invest it for their family.
They're not going to put it in trust.
Not me. I don't need fancy stuff, man. I really don't. I'm not a fancy person. So I'm going to put everything in a trust. If my mom passes, it works the way I want. My mom passes a certain amount to me, it's going in a trust.
Yep.
Of course, I'm going to use something to help pay off stuff like my house and, stuff like that. But it's still going to go in a trust, and it's going to go in a trust for my kid.
Yep.
And then I'm going to put in a trust. He's only allowed to use this amount, and the rest is going to get handed down to the next generation. And
the way it should be.
If something happens to him, it goes to whatever, his mother. I don't care, but it needs to be stipulations on how you can spend that money. So my mother passed it down to me. She puts a stipulation on how much I could spend in that trust, period. You only could spend $500,000. The rest you can't touch. And then it passes down and passes down and it passes down.
What's up, Shannon?
10 generations. Yeah. 10 generations from now, you're going to have millions and millions and millions of dollars. That's generational wealth. But a lot of people are so selfish these days, they refuse to do that.
No, it's true. It's one of those things, like I said, it's like, how do we do that? Like, if you were gonna possibly entertain the idea of reparations, is how would you legitimately do it? I think it's all gonna cost money regardless of what you do. But definitely creating generational wealth and fixing that would be good, which is something the left argues all the time. It's just that they become fervent militants about it, and they don't actually want to have a conversation about what it would actually take to do that and where the line has to be drawn, like we've talked about before. Is there always has to be a line?
There's 2 different types of black people, I believe, in the country. So there's the militant type, right? Which they follow, what's his name? Du Bois. Yeah, Du Bois. He was a militant.
Yeah.
Then you had the Booker T style, black people, conservatives.
Yep.
I follow more of a Booker T style. You know what I mean? I'm not a militant. I don't believe in protesting and screaming and yelling in the street to get what we want. I believe in getting my butt out there, putting my face out there, and working hard to get what I want. And that's the difference. The militant side wants to take, we want it right now, give it to me. The non-militant side believes, I know there's steps to get where I want to go, and I'm going to work my ass off to get there. And then when I get there, I'm going to continue to try to get even higher. So once I reach it, I'm building generational wealth, my whole step up.
Yep.
And it's more, I like earning my stuff, man. I don't like handouts at all.
No, because it's the same thing with woke. Like I said before, with wokeness, is that especially in today's media climate, is they're always trying to do the hand-me-downs with characters too, right? It's so patronizing, right? It's like instead of making new things, they're just like, hey, why don't we reskin things people like Willow being a good example, right?
That show didn't last.
No, it didn't. It got canceled along with the Bison show, right? It's like, if you're gonna wear a skin suit of something people love, maybe don't make it bad. You know what I mean? Like, if you can make it good, that's fine. But if you make it bad, then nobody's gonna watch it. Nobody wants to watch that garbage. It's why I can't find anything that I want to go see at the movie theater these days, right? I can't find anything good. It's hard to find anything good to watch.
And that's why that last Wakanda movie didn't do as hot. Because
it was super racist.
Yeah, and people didn't want to go see it because of wokeness, and it hurt that movie at the box office.
It's kind of funny because it's in a way that they made the black characters just be black nationalists instead of white nationalists, right? So they're like, we can't have these poor dirty Mexicans coming in here. That's what it was. Like, it's like, how do you defeat the guy? You got to get his wet. You got to make his back not wet. It's like, wait, so you have to get the wet back dry? And that's how they beat the bad guy. Like, come on.
That's crazy. And a lot of these people that were like that love, Black Panther or Wakanda forever, they're throwing up the symbol. A lot of them didn't even know Black Panther's been around for years. And you didn't even know who the hell Black Panther was until a movie come out. Some of us been reading the comics for years. We knew who Black Panther was. This is why some of us were just like, no, good, Black Panther movie, finally. We didn't make a big deal out of it because it's been a comic forever.
Yeah. And they're, like I said, they're just wearing the skin suits of everything you love. And that's like why wokeness is such a bad thing in general, is because all they're going to do is take everything you love and just destroy it. And here's the thing. It's like, it's the funniest thing, because I wanted to find a good way to bring this up. They hate Elon Musk for what he believes, right? And they're like, don't buy Tesla because like he's a right-wing nut job or whatever. But then they'll still support companies and their wokeness while they were supporting Nazis the entire time, right? So here, I wanted to bring this up because it's hilarious, by the way, is the 7 brands with Nazi ties that we all use. Right. So I'm going to go through them real quick, and then we'll talk about it. So one of them being IBM, by the way. They helped the Nazis. Another one is Volkswagen, which was started by the Führer himself for which literally means people's wagon, right? Volkswagen is how you say it properly. Coca-Cola was another one of those companies that profited from Nazi Germany. And then Hugo Boss, my favorite one, because like, as much as you hate the Nazis, like, their uniforms are fire, because Hugo Boss, the designer, designed their uniforms, and which people of the elite status today still use Hugo Boss today. And they're like, it's fine that they were a part of Nazis and they made all their money from Nazis. At least they're not Republicans.
Exactly.
At least they're not Republicans, right? Like, because that's the ideology and how crazy it is. Right, so it's not just Hugo Boss too. There's a couple others I want to get through. The Associated Press was a big fan of the Adolf man. He was also Time Man Magazine of the Year. If you didn't know that, he was Time Magazine of the Year. Kodak. I didn't know this one. This makes me sad. Kodak. If you don't, for those people that didn't live in the film era, Kodak was a very big film company.
I remember.
Yeah, you don't see Kodak very often, but it's kind of sad. Oh, Bayer, your heart medication was originally from Nazi scientists. Right? So, and there's one other one that we can bring up that everybody forgets. NASA being a very big one of those. So, How did NASA get started? Is because we took all of the Nazi scientists and we decided to beat the
Operation
Russians.
Paperclip.
Yeah, Operation Paperclip.
Oh,
If you don't know your history, look up that.
Yeah, don't forget Ford.
Oh yeah,
Ford. For all you guys that like to drive your big old Ford trucks, you know, the Ford.
Ford was a really big a proponent of
Jeep.
No, I was going to say
Nazi
genetics.
vehicles.
Yeah.
Or
No, eugenics. Sorry, I couldn't think of the word for a second. Eugenics. He was a big eugenics fan, which is really funny. You know, eugenics didn't come from the Nazis. It came from America, right? Eugenics was something that was started in America, and the Nazis just happened to pick up, by the way. And it's the same sort of idea that they're going with now. It's the same thing of how Planned Parenthood got started. It was about eugenics. And people in the left seems to forget that Planned Parenthood was started by a person who despised black people and wanted to get rid of black babies. Margaret Sanger.
She was like a grand wizard in the KKK or something.
Right. So
she called black people weeds.
Exactly.
Jesus
so these are the uncomfortable truths that the left does not want to address and deal with. Right. They're so hell-bent on fixing the system, but they won't acknowledge their own hypocrisy in the system that they've created. Right.
Nope.
And
actually, they're ashamed.
Oh yeah.
So you know, they deflect because they're ashamed of what they actually support. But again, as we talked before the show, I said they all want to be a part of something.
Yep.
So no matter if they agree or disagree, they're already in it to win it. So deep down, you know, that little thing is tingling on the back of their neck saying this is wrong, but they're never going to say it's wrong because they want to be a part of something bigger. And they believe what they're standing against is bigger than them, even though it's wrong. They'll never go against it.
But that's the thing today is like, if you would ask a proponent on the left, right, or any host on the left, what would happen to them if they came out and supported the right today, right? If you got red-pilled today and said you were red-pilled and went against the left, what would happen to your career? Ask them that. Like, point blank, ask them what would happen to you in your career if you came out for the right today. And they would know what it would happen. And they won't say what would happen, but they know what would happen. They would deflect. They would not answer the question. It's like, well, it's not about me. It's about what you believe. It's like, no. Tell me if you went against the church, the dogmatic church of intersectional oppression, what would happen to you in your career? And they know the truth. They absolutely know the truth.
That's right. It would be ruined. But, you know, believe it or not, there's a lot more people on the left that are being red pilled that's reported. So a lot more of them are waking up to like the shenanigans on the left. They understand that it's Marxism. They understand that it's socialism, and they understand it's communist light. So
communist light. I don't think there's any good form of communist light.
Well, it's communist light. They haven't gone full blown communist yet, but they're waiting. Their fingers on that trigger.
All right.
They're just waiting.
Speaking of communism, to shift to the next topic before we head out of the show, I am annoyed at the fact that another point of leftist hypocrisy and then also right hypocrisy is the fact that they've been coming after TikTok. Like, I get the concerns for that. Like, it's a security threat, right? It's a security threat. We can't have TikTok here because they're going to be spying on us. And then I think to myself, wait, so basically you're just saying the only people who can spy on Americans is Americans.
America.
Like, right? It's like, so they'll let the big major companies like Facebook, Google, right, YouTube, all of them spy on your information, your data, collect all your information and sell it to the highest bidder. But God forbid the Chinese do it, right? So it's okay if the NSA spies on you. It's not okay if the Chinese spy on you, right?
Exactly.
It's like, who are you more afraid of? The police that can come into your house right now, or the salesman up the road? You know what I mean? It's like the Chinese.
I'm not afraid of China. China's halfway across the world. You know, like you said, I'm more worried about the NSA, the FBI, the CIA, the ATF, and all these three-letter organizations that can come and knock on my door anytime they want. And think about this.
I'm not a Chinese apologist. I'm not a Chinese apologist. I'll say that straight up front, right? I have my own qualms and arguments against China, right? But I'm just saying the hypocrisy of the institutions going, you know what? It's kind of stupid that we let the Chinese spy on Americans while we're spying on them too.
Well, think about this. Every single app you download on your phone, what is one thing that app asks you?
Hey,
And
let
you
me
wanna
track all your
allow-
information.
Exactly. You don't know where this app is coming from.
Hmm.
You see a cool app, you download it. You don't know if it's made in China. You don't know if it's made here. You don't know if it's made there. But the first thing they ask you is, will you allow this app to track your information?
Yep.
Same with Facebook, same with Instagram, same with Snapchat, same with Twitter. They're all tracking your information. And as easy it is to hack our systems, anybody can hack into the system and see your information. This TikTok ban is nothing more than uh, an attack on information dissemination, because information gets out so fast on TikTok.
Yep.
So
It does.
fast is that they're trying to find a way to control it. And TikTok, they're kind of hands off on a lot of information. They don't really mess with it unless it gets reported, unlike Facebook. People don't have to report your stuff on Facebook. Facebook just sees it and they be like, oh, we can't.
Speaking of Facebook, I brought this up on this article, is that the Facebook parent company, Meta, defends its PR campaign to portray TikTok as a threat to American children, right? So it is coming out recently that Facebook lobbied the GOP to shut down TikTok, right? So,
Yes.
and here's another interesting thing. Facebook is no longer paying creators for their reels, their videos that they were trying to be competitive. With
Meta's not.
Yeah, so Meta's not doing that anymore, right? So they're not going to pay their creators because they're going to be able to get rid of TikTok, which means they have no more competition, which is all of this has always come down to, like we said before, is money. Everything is always an economic system, right? They are always trying to look out what's good for them, and it will always be the same thing with the banks recently, right? They're like, hey, can we make the smaller banks solvent if like something happens to the depositors? Then they're like, no, we're not doing that, because like we would have to like make sure that it was like in regulation and whatnot. And it's like, oh, so you're saying you only do it for large banks with large deposits, but you won't let anybody else with the smaller deposits whole again if something happens? Like, no, it's only for the big guys, right?
And we talked about this on the Savage Patriots, you remember?
Yep.
We talked about how they're going to dissolve these smaller banks and they're going to eat them up. And
that's exactly what's going to happen.
Yep, it's going to happen.
It's going to be like 5 or 6 banks, right? It's going to be like it is with the internet companies, right? You saw what happened with those. Like when you go to an area and there's only one company you can buy internet from, it sucks. Same thing with banks.
Same thing.
It's going to be the same thing with banks, man.
And the thing with Meta and, Meta being Facebook and Instagram is that they can't compete with TikTok. Their platform, when it comes to doing video editing and doing videos like that, it sucks.
Yep.
And so, they did throw out the thing about TikTok selling it. And if I was Elon Musk, I hope you're listening to me. Go ahead and buy it. Buy it. And don't change it. Don't change anything about it.
Yep.
That'll really piss them off.
But like I said, the thing is that the only people that benefit from TikTok getting banned is Google, Alphabet, right, and Meta are the only people that benefit from losing TikTok, right? And like I said, I don't like that TikTok is owned by a Chinese company, right? I'm security minded in that regard, obviously, but at the same time, it's like you're not willing to get rid of the FBI and the NSA spying on American citizens through these other corporations, because that's okay as long as you're the ones doing it. If it's a foreign actor spying, it's bad, but if you're doing it, it's great, which is beyond me.
I think spying on your citizens, that's unconstitutional too, I think.
It should be a violation of unreasonable search and seizure. Yep, unreasonable search and seizure.
Yep.
Because we did not give you permission to do that. It was like, well, they're a private company. They can sell the information to us if they want.
Yeah, but I didn't. No. I still didn't give them permission to go.
Did not sign up for that.
Yep, sure didn't.
They also do the argument of this is all about privacy, right? But like we've been saying, it's not about privacy. It's about money, right? Facebook lobbied the government to shut down a competitor. It's the same thing that they did with Getter, right? Damn,
that's gone already.
Yeah, it's still around. But what they did is they got together, all of Amazon, Google, Facebook got together and said, hey, you know what? This is actually picking up steam. We should probably shut it down. Amazon, they're on your servers, right? Yeah. Shut it down. And that's what they did. They got rid of their competition, right? This is monopolistic tactics that the left is supposed to be against, but they're like, yeah, whatever. It's a private company. They can do what they want, right? Same thing with the Twitter files and coming out and them finding out that they were doing all this stuff to conservatives, right? We knew that was the truth. Everybody told you that was the truth, but they're like, well, it was for a good reason, so whatever. The censorship, man.
I mean, there's the one reason that it's going to be hard to get rid of TikTok because there's way too much money involved in it.
Yep.
I mean, Apple, all these phones, they're making money on TikTok, man. Every time somebody downloads that app, every time, they have ads on that app, there's a lot of money involved. So,
but it's not going to them, and that's the problem.
Yeah, they want the money, but, I don't think TikTok's going away. I really don't, because
if they lobby hard enough, they will. It will.
Well, if Joe Biden signs off on it, I don't think the House will pass it. The Senate will sign off on it. The House won't. Joe Biden will probably do an executive order or some shit to get rid of it. And then they're going to lose a lot of support because a lot of people make money on that app. You're taking away their revenue. So you're going to have a lot of pissed off voters.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
And they don't care about that stuff. And that's the disappointing thing. But here's the other hypocrisy of this whole thing, right? So they're saying China is a large threat with TikTok, right? It's like having 80 million devices in America that are spying on U.S. installations and whatnot, right? But at the same time, they allow Chinese firms to buy farmland in the United States, right? They are one of the largest owners, right next to Bill Gates, of private farmland in the United States. And people don't understand that. I get why they're trying to go after TikTok based on the national security threat, right? Because at the same time, that's how businesses run in China, right? The state has control over the institutions. They don't just get to have free anything. Like when Jack Ma of Alibaba disappeared, right? He was an outspoken critic of Xi. He disappeared, and now he fell in line. So what happens in China, if the companies don't fall in line, even if they don't want to, they'll just disappear you for a little bit and re-educate you, like the Uyghurs, right? So, like, China's not our friend, obviously. And I get the point of trying to get rid of TikTok because it's a bad thing. But at the same time, it's like, if you're going to get rid of TikTok for a national security issue, can you please stop spying on the rest of us with the NSA and FBI in Facebook and Google and Twitter and all the other people that you've implanted spies into? Because that would be great.
That's right.
Right?
And if you want to get rid of TikTok because of China, stop doing business with China, period.
Right? Like Joe Biden recently, who has a bunch of dealings that they show that they were getting money from Chinese firms. So like they're wanting to ban TikTok, but they're taking Chinese money from the Biden family was taking Chinese money for influence peddling, right? So like they were helping buy gas and oil in the United States by taking Chinese firm money. So like all of this hypocrisy is wrapped up in itself. And like I said, it's all about money. It's always been about the money. Economics is the major driving force of any politician and any policy in the United States. It always has been. Just like slavery was, just like banning TikTok, it's all about money. It has nothing to do with ideology. They use useful idiots of the church, of intersectional oppression to get things done that they want done. They are using you.
And they can't control TikTok. TikTok will not be controlled like Facebook and, not Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. The government controls those entities. They don't control TikTok. So, they want to have full control over it. One information is here, one information gets out, one information does it, and TikTok's not playing that game.
Right. And even if they did try to ban it, we have VPNs. People are just going to find a way around it to get it. Or even if they ban it, as long as you keep it on your phone, you still have access to it, right?
That's right.
That's kind of the thing. Is so if you're gonna go after TikTok in this way, I want you to stop spying on Americans, right, with your policies, and then do something about foreign entities that own land in the United States. It's not just China; it's a bunch of other people that own land in the United States. I don't know if you know that, right? Canada is actually one of the top landowners in the United States. Did you know that?
No.
Yeah, they farmland in the United States. The top one is actually Canada, as our press secretary calls it, Canada. Karine Jean-Pierre, she is the worst, man. Oh my god,
she is.
Like I miss Jen Psaki. Like I miss Psaki so much. Too. She was an idiot, but at least she was good at her job.
Yeah, I don't want to say all that, but yeah.
At least, okay, fine. She's not good at her job, but at least she could talk well.
Well, you know,
She
the
talked
best one I
good.
think so far was that young lady that was with Trump. What's her name? The blonde.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about. Why did I
Yeah,
blink on her name too?
yeah, I blinked. Damn it! You guys know who we're talking about. But
Yeah, you know who
she
we're
was
talking
good.
about.
She
She was
was good. She was good.
But like I said, to close out the show, it's just like I said, I hate the hypocrisy of the left. I hate the hypocrisy of the
Yes.
government taking private money from China and then at the same time trying to ban it, saying it's for national security. Then if that's the case, if it's for national security, then we need to open up investigations into the Biden family taking Chinese firm money who helped them get oil deals in the United States and probably deals for farmland that they were concerned about buying next to freaking military bases, right? So like we're all concerned about this national security issue is then we have somebody who has taken money from the Chinese Communist Party via state firms, and we know
That's
this
right.
to be true. So
And the thing with TikTok, man, is why does the government care if they are spying on my information, Michael Harris's? That's my problem. If I say I don't care, I'm gonna sign this pay. I don't give a damn if they spy on me. I don't care. I have nothing.
everybody's
The average
spying on us
citizen-
anyway.
Yeah, everybody's spying on us anyway. Why does the government want to? Man, I don't need your protection, dude.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No, I get it.
Get the
I
hell
get
out
it.
of my life. Let me figure it out. I don't need you.
It's just one of those things is like if you're gonna call one thing out, then you should at least be honest about it and why you're doing it. You're doing it because Facebook paid you money to do it, right?
That's right.
They lobbied you, and this is going to the GOP, right? I'm gonna say this to the Republicans: do not let a corporation use you to do their bidding to get rid of competition.
Mhm.
That's the thing that makes me upset is that you are doing Facebook's bidding, you're doing Meta's bidding to get rid of a
Meta needs to
competition.
just go away.
Yeah.
And I challenge everybody. If Meta does get TikTok removed, hey, everybody delete Meta.
Yeah.
You know, we'll all just go to Clapper. We'll delete Meta. We'll delete Instagram. I mean, we like sharing information, but sometimes you got to hit them in the pocket. You got to hit them where it hurts.
Just like
You know,
Netflix,
and-
right? Yeah,
yeah.
they'll listen eventually.
They'll listen. You got to hit them where it hurts, and don't even use it. Or you just disable it. Don't even use it because they make money off of you logging in and doing everything
Mhm.
on it. When you don't use it, period, they're losing money. No one's
Yep.
watching the ads. You're not sharing information. There's no data coming through. That's where they make their money. So hit them where it hurts. Hit Zucker. I man, almost cussed.
I know
don't
it's
wanna-
we've been trying to
Hit
work on our
Zuckerberg
cussing
where
for
it
sure.
hurts. You know, he's trying to monopolize. And at one point, didn't he want to buy TikTok?
Yeah, he
And
did.
they denied. Yeah, they denied.
They
him. So
denied. They said no.
if it was that bad,
No.
why did Zuck want to buy it? Yeah, they're full of crap. It's
The-
too much
the only
competition
reason-
for them.
The only reason they have an issue with it is because it's a Chinese firm that owns it. Okay.
Well, that's what they say. TikTok's making more money. TikTok is the most popular freaking app in the world.
Because it's a
And
good
Zuck
app.
doesn't- Yeah,
It's a good
Zuck
app.
Doesn't like it. Yep, it is a good app. 15
Zuck,
seconds.
Zuckerberg used to be on the top, and now that his platform's on the decline, it was bound to happen eventually, dude. You've been
Mhm.
around for 20 years. It was gonna
Doesn't
happen.
last forever.
Yeah.
They just need to go back to the old style of Facebook. You know, get all the
What
rest
is
of
it?
the crap.
It's not 20 years. It's more like 15 years. But still,
It
you
was
get what I mean.
2003.
It was like yeah.
It was
about
around
that.
there, 2003. So about.
Oh, I
20
guess
years.
I guess it's about 20 years. Okay, so like,
Yeah.
basically to the point, it's almost been 20 years since Facebook's been around. It was bound to lose out. Like everything, everywhere, at any time. AOL used to be a thing.
Mm-hmm. Yahoo
Instant Messenger used to be a thing, and it's not anymore. Eventually, things change. Technology changes. Like we mentioned at the beginning of the show, technology always changes, and they are so afraid of losing their power and their grip on information in the government. They're going after TikTok, even though they know they're hypocrites.
So everybody get a VPN. You heard Coy earlier.
Get a VPN. Protect your data. Anyway, you
Yep.
can catch us tomorrow at the Savage Patriots at 5:30. No, it's 6:30 Eastern Standard Time.
Yep.
As well. But that's it for us tonight. Follow us on everything. Have it on the link tree. You can just go there and follow us on all the things that you usually do. Anyway,
Like,
we love you, America.
subscribe, share. We
Mhm.
need to get our subs up. So subs.
Oh, and also go to Rumble and like there so we can get live
Yes.
streaming there. Anyway,
Sure.
we love you, America. And we
and